Chris Graham here for Trailblazer RV. We're here in the shop at Trailblazer and we're going to take you through an RV orientation on this 2013 Koala 25DS. Start here at the front of the trailer. You've got your propane and battery systems. To access your propane bottles, you can lift up the hatch here to access the valves or pull the cover right off. You've got dual 30-pound propane tanks. Both of these are full right now, and an automatic switchover propane regulator. And you can see the regulator has selected this bottle as the supply. That makes this bottle the reserve. And what we recommend is opening both bottles. Right now you can see a little red indicator here that there is no propane flowing. As I open the bottle though, that turns to green. We recommend opening both bottles. Anytime you open a propane bottle, open the knob nice and slow and all the way. With the automatic switchover regulator, it'll deplete the supply bottle all the way down, and then it will automatically start to pull propane from the reserve bottle. When that happens, the indicator will turn red, and you can switch the supply to the second bottle, take the first bottle off, and go and refill it without ever shutting down your propane system. Behind the propane is the battery. This is a 12-volt deep cycle RV marine battery with two leads going to the battery. The red is positive, the black is negative. It's a flooded wet cell battery. So there is some periodic maintenance required. We recommend once a year removing these two caps and checking the fluid level in the 6 cells that you'll find beneath the caps. If any of the cells look a little low, especially if you can see metal plates sticking through the fluid, top up the fluid with some distilled water, put a good charge on the battery. We also recommend removing this battery for winter storage. Store it inside, somewhere where it's not going to freeze, and if possible, put a trickle charge on the battery once over the course of the off season. Follow me around the side of the trailer. Here we've got your stabilizing jacks. So there's stabilizer jacks on all 4 corners. Once you've got the trailer parked and relatively level, you can crank these down to be snug with the ground. You don't want to actually lift the RV off the ground with those. They're not designed to absorb that kind of weight, just to stabilize the RV. The best way to level the RV is to back the low side up onto blocks. Some people use just a 2x4 or a 2x6. Or we do also have actual RV leveling blocks that are lightweight, easy to store, and just fit together like Legos for easier leveling. Here at the running gear, just like to point out that your wheel nuts have been torqued to 100 foot-pounds, and we do recommend periodically retorquing your wheel nuts. Also periodically checking your tire pressures. And your tires will be filled to 50 psi, stamped right on the side of the tire, 50 psi cold. And we do recommend running the tires right at 50 psi. There is also Easy Lube axles beneath these center caps that can be removed with a flathead screwdriver. You'll find a rubber cap that you can pull out to expose a grease zerk, and you can grease your inner and outer wheel bearings with the Easy Lube axles. Now that doesn't eliminate the need to repack wheel bearings, but it prolongs it. So instead of repacking your wheel bearings every year, maybe you repack your wheel bearings every 2 or 3 years. Behind that is your power cord. It's a 30 amp power cord, and many RV sites that you camp at will have 30 amp service available. We also provide an adapter to adapt that to a conventional 15 amp household power outlet. Here's your outside shower. Pretty simple, hot and cold taps in there. The shower extends to about that height. Don't forget to winterize this. It's commonly left out of the winterizing process, and as a result, we replace a lot of them in the spring. And two water connections here. One is your city water connection. If you're hooking up to water at a park that has pressured water, you can hook your hose right up to there. Then you don't have to use your water pump. You don't have to worry about running out of water from your water tank. If you are going to hook into city water pressure, we recommend using a water pressure regulator. Just a small brass piece about that size, fits on the end of your garden hose, or better yet, your drinking water hose. You can get those white, non-toxic drinking water hoses. And the water pressure regulator will maintain proper operating water pressure in the RV, so you don't over-pressurize the system. Do not confuse this water connection with this water connection. This is your sewer tank flush system. So when you're dumping your holding tanks, you can hook a garden hose, preferably a different hose than you use for your water connection, up to here, and it'll spray out the inside of your black holding tank. Spray all of the sludge off the walls of the tank and keep the monitors clean and reading properly. To dump those holding tanks, your sewer hose will connect right here. We supply a new sewer hose. It's a 20-foot medium heavy-duty sewer hose. It's stored right now inside the rear bumper. So when you go to dump your tanks, attach the sewer hose onto here. Other end goes into the ground. Pull first your larger black valve and let the sewer contents drain from the tank. Close this and pull the gray valve to let your sink and shower water kind of flush out the sewer hose. Only when you have your black valve open should you have water going into your sewer tank flush. Next to that is your hot water tank. This is an Atwood hot water tank, so it doesn't require an anode rod. Instead, you have just a plastic drain plug here. So you can remove that to drain the water out of the tank in the off season when you go to winterize the RV. Before you pull that plug, make sure to release the pressure from the tank using the pressure relief valve. The tank sits at about 40 psi generally, so if you pull that plug before releasing the pressure, it's going to spray quite a bit of water. It's all direct spark ignition, so there's no pilot lights or anything to worry about, and the tank can operate on propane or electricity. Here at the back of the trailer is where your spare tire is mounted. It's important to note that the trailer does not include a jack or a wheel wrench, so not a bad idea to have available with you either in your truck or in the trailer, just in case, just in the event of needing to change a tire on the fly. Around the camping side, got a couple of vents here. The larger black vent is for your fridge. This panel can be removed to access the back of the fridge compartment just for cleaning and general maintenance, but not much need to do that. It's mostly just a vent. And below that is your furnace vent. And the only thing to know about this is it does get fairly hot, so make sure if you've got kids around the trailer that they know not to go near that. Right here is your freshwater tank fill. We showed you the city water connection on the other side. This is where you would fill your freshwater holding tank so that you can camp at somewhere without city water hookups. Again, preferably with a white drinking water specific hose so you don't get the plastic taste in your water. Your entry door step slides and then flips, flip, slide. Lend-a-hand door handle folds either direction. A lot of people like to travel with it in that position. That way if your door were to pop in transit, it can't possibly fly open. And the other thing on this side of the trailer is your awning. The awning is controlled from the control panel just inside the trailer. And if I press the awning extend, This is a height adjustable power awning. We've just washed it, that's why there's some moisture in this awning still. To adjust the height, this little arm here, you can loosen off this tension knob, pull down and tighten, and you can do that on one side or both sides of the awning. It's a fairly long awning, so we would recommend leaving one side lower than the other to control where the rainwater runs off. Before you roll it back up, make sure that the arms are at the same height to ensure that the awning canvas rolls up straight on the roller tube. If you'll follow me inside the trailer, we'll go through a few more. So here we are inside the trailer at the control panel. I'll show you how to run your slide out. Right here on the far left of the panel is the slide button, says in and out. To run it out, press and hold the out button. This is a LCI Schwintek style slide, and with this style of slide, you want to be careful to run it all the way in and all the way out. Avoid stopping it halfway so that the slide out doesn't ever come out of alignment. With this style of slide, if it does come out of alignment, the first thing that you can try is just running it all the way out until the motors stop and all the way in again until the motors stop. There's two motors that run this slide and they should equalize. So that's the slide fully extended now. The other thing that's here is your monitor panel. So you can see the level of your battery is completely charged. Freshwater tank, completely empty. Black tank, completely empty. Gray tank, completely empty. And you've got gray 2 here, but I don't believe this model has a second gray tank. It's a standard monitor panel that they used across their entire lineup. You only have a single gray tank. Your water heater and water pump switches are here as well. So you can run the water heater on electricity with this switch, or propane with this switch. This is also where you'll activate your water pump. The red reset button in the center of these two switches is for running your hot water tank on propane if for some reason the burner didn't light. If it attempted to light and didn't, this reset button will come on. If that happens, the most likely cause, in my experience, is you're probably out of propane. Check your propane level, shut this off, and try it again. Below that is a Gfi Power Outlet. This is the same as the plugs in your home with a test and reset button. The only difference in an RV is this is wired into the entire 110 electrical system. So if you're plugged into power and you can't get any power from your power outlets, come here by the door, press the reset button, and everything should go back to normal for all of your power outlets. This is also where we store the park adapter. This goes on the end of your 30 amp power cord to break it down to 15 amp power. We just store it right here so you know where to find it. On into the kitchen. Here we've got the 3-burner stove top and gas oven. So if we turn the burners to light, and there's a piezo sparker to light all 3 of those burners. Anytime you change out your propane tanks or refill your propane tanks, it's a good practice to get into to come to the stove top here, open up the burners to bleed the air off of the propane system. Once you can light all 3 of the burners, you know that the air has bled off of the system. Your other appliances should have no problem firing up. The only pilot light that you have to worry about in the RV is here in the oven. So push the oven knob over to pilot. You'll have to push in and hold on that pilot knob And right underneath here is where you'll light your pilot at the pilot assembly. Once you see a flame there, continue to hold the pilot knob for 10 or 15 seconds while the flame sensor heats up, and then turn the oven up to the temperature that you like. When you're finished using the oven, you can turn it back down to pilot and leave the pilot burning, or just turn it all the way off and relight the pilot next time you're ready to use the oven. The fridge is a Dometic automatic gas electric fridge. So if you turn it to the on position and leave it in automatic, the fridge will always try to run on electricity. If it has electricity available, it'll run on that. But if you blow a breaker or the trailer gets unplugged without your knowing, the fridge will sense that and it'll automatically switch over to propane. You can override the automatic to run only on propane by pressing this button. Situation you might want to do that if you're plugged into a weak breaker and you want to conserve energy. You can opt to run the fridge on gas. You may also find that the fridge cools faster on gas than it does on electricity, but having said that, it takes several hours to cool an RV fridge down. So we recommend starting the fridge up the day before you pack up so that it's nice and cold by the time you load your food. I'll leave it in the automatic position, but turned off for now. Down here beneath the bunk bed is your power converter. This is the power center for the entire trailer. So all of your 110 volt circuits are protected by breakers, and all of your 12 volt circuits by fuses. You have predominantly 15 amp fuses, but also a couple of 40s, a 30, and a 3 amp fuse. So not a bad idea to have an assorted pack of fuses with you. It's not uncommon in an RV to blow a fuse. I don't know if you can hear that converter humming a little bit. That's perfectly normal when it's operating under heavy load. If it's charging the battery or if you've got a lot of lights on, it's normal for that converter to make a little bit of a humming sound. Your hot water tank will be accessed from under the bunk. There's a little sticker there that says hot water tank access. Lift up on that to access the bypass valves on your hot water tank for winterizing. And here in the bathroom, not a lot of notable things to talk about, but whenever you're using the RV's sewer system, make sure you use a good potent RV toilet chemical. Chemicals are available in powder, liquid, or tablet form. We sell all three. Every time you add chemical, pour a package of chemical into the toilet, push halfway down on the foot pedal to fill the bowl with water, and then once the bowl is full of water and chemical, dump the whole works into the tank. That toilet chemical needs a little bit of water to activate it, so make sure you put some water down into the tank with it. And you'll put a new charge of toilet chemical in every time you dump your holding tanks. So every time you finish dumping your black holding tank, come into the trailer, put some new chemical in, and you're good until the next time you have to dump. One thing I have not found is the thermostat. Here it is. So this is your thermostat. Controls the furnace in the RV, and there's two switches on that. An on-off switch on the top. So first things first, make sure it's in the on position, and then just slide the little slider to find the temperature that you're comfortable with. I'm sure you heard the fan kick on as soon as I engage the thermostat. That's normal. The fan will run for 10 or 15 seconds before the burner lights up. You should hear it. I don't know if you could hear that in the video, but the burner lit up there now. So in a few seconds, we'd have warm air blowing through the vents. When you shut that off, or when it reaches temperature, exactly the same thing happens, only in reverse. The burner goes out immediately, but the fan's still going to run for 30 seconds to a minute to go through its cycle. Good practice to get into when you're not using the RV when it's in storage. Make sure you have this turned to the off position. Even The thermostat is turned all the way down. If it gets cool enough over the evening, your furnace will be kicking in, depleting your battery and propane. In the bedroom, not a whole lot to show you here. Your TV antenna is here. It is a power antenna, so you do need to just turn the switch on here on the right side beside me, and it has some ability to turn it around to adjust it on the roof as well to dial in the best TV signal. With your stereo system, AM, FM, CD, DVD with auxiliary and USB inputs. This is already wired into your main TV for the DVD player. This TV also can swivel around to the front just by releasing the catch there and swiveling the TV. The last thing that I want to show you through is some of the safety features in the RV. You have your smoke detector here. This has its own battery in it, so check the 9-volt battery periodically, just like you would the smoke alarms in your home. Emergency exit window here in the master bedroom. To use that, pull up on the handle, slide it out, and the window is hinged at the top. You can latch the window there just for airflow if you like, or it will hinge all the way up if you need to use it as an emergency egress window. And your propane leak detector is over here right next to all of your propane appliances. And this is actually a two-function leak detector. This will alert you to a potential propane leak or also alert you to a potential carbon monoxide situation. But there is a third thing that can cause this to alarm. This does not have its own battery. It's wired into the RV's battery system. So if you get a low voltage situation with your RV battery, this will chime to alert you to that, similar to what a smoke detector would when its battery is going dead. So if you hear the propane detector going off, there's a very good chance that it's not a propane or carbon monoxide leak. It's quite often just a low voltage on your RV battery. I think for the most part that covers everything. I hope you've learned something about the Koala 25DS. If you have any questions, you can always give us a call here at Trailblazer or visit our website, trailblazerrv.com. Thanks.